Hello ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities and identities, and welcome back to another film review. And today's film review is none other than Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox. So what is the purpose of Flashpoint Paradox? Well, it's a really interesting concept. We find ourselves in a situation in which Batman and the Justice League go to save Barry Allen after Barry gets caught by Eobard Thawne. They all take a bunch of bombs that have been put inside of a bunch of villains and essentially manage to get rid of them. However, after this, Barry begins to grieve over the loss of his mother and remembers the time back when she was killed. At some point during his run, Barry manages to sway off from our timeline and essentially creates a whole new timeline in which his mother is alive. However, this has repercussions when he realizes how much the world has changed. In this world, Thomas Wayne is Batman and Bruce is dead. Aquaman and Diana are at war. And essentially, Cyborg is just trying to do his best to fight with the resistance and with the world government to keep things back at bay. Barry finds that he's lost his speed and so tries to electrocute himself with lightning to get his speed back. The first attempt is futile and essentially leaves him barbecued. The second attempt works and Barry eventually manages to get his speed back. Barry then mentions to Thomas Wayne that Superman needs to be found because he is one of their last hopes for this war. After the help of Cyborg, they discover that Superman has actually been drained of his powers and kept in a top secret base by the government. Meanwhile, the war between Atlantis and Themyscira begins to rage on. As Barry's memories begin to change, we suddenly remember exactly why this war began. Diana and Arthur kindled a relationship behind the back of Arthur's wife. Arthur thought that she'd never find out about it, but when his wife went to confront Diana, she was slaughtered in cold blood, and essentially Diana wore her crown as a remembrance to anyone not to mess with her. This caused Arthur to then start having a war with her and the Amazonians. Ever since then, the pair have been tearing up the whole world until nothing could be left. At one point, Lois Lane gets too close to the war and ends up being chased down by a bunch of Amazonians, but is saved by Thawne. Now, Thawne saves her just so that he can point out to Barry that he is in this timeline. When the war comes to a conclusion and the timeline begins to break down, Thawne basically starts to gloat in Barry's face at look at what he's done. He has brought them both to hell just because he wanted to save his mother. Barry gets frustrated with Thawne and points out that he accepts what he has done now and is going to go back in time and fix it. But as a final kind of nail in the coffin, Thawne doesn't want to give him the satisfaction of fixing what's happened. Thomas Wayne shoots him in the back of the head and allows Barry to finally run after himself and fix the timeline. When Barry returns back to our universe, we find ourselves in a situation in which Barry still has a letter from Thomas Wayne that he gives to Bruce. Barry then goes back to his normal life and grieves over the loss of his mother by going to her graveyard, finally proving once and for all that Barry accepts the loss of his mum. So the Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox. What did I think of this cartoon? Honestly, I really love it because it reminds me of one of my favourite seasons of The Flash. In the Flash TV show that I was watching at one point, they do pick up on this paradox and I absolutely love it. Why? Because it's a mistake that anyone who became a speedster would do, and anyone who could time travel would do. The power of the Speed Force allowing them to time travel back in time and forward in time, I think, is such a crucial and dangerous power for them. And I feel like Barry changing his past is really the kind of pinnacle of this moment. I feel like it shows the change that he needed to overcome, and for that reason, I give it a solid 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next film review. Until then, goodbye, stay beautiful, you beautiful people.